Good morning. Well, the scene was being set. The leaders of Israel had decided that this man should have to die. Caiaphas said, "It's right that one man should die, then the whole nation perish." A great prophetic statement. Judas, for reasons we can't really understand, had decided to turn against Jesus, and he'd gone personally to the chief priests and said, "I will hand him over to you. I will do it." We don't know why he did this. Many people have wondered about it. But Jesus knows that the Passover is coming. And so he sends his apostles and he says, "Go and find a room which is going to be prepared." And he'd already made arrangements about this, almost as he'd made arrangements for riding the donkey. Because when his apostles had gone to fetch the donkey and had untied the donkey, the owners of the donkey said, "What are you doing taking that donkey?" And they said, our master needs it. And they said, "Okay, you take it and bring it back later." See, Jesus had arranged this. We don't see what's going on behind the scenes. He's already fixing things to happen in the right way. The people in Jerusalem were waiting for him to come for this Last Supper. He had already arranged where it was going to be. And he says to his disciples, "Go, you'll find two men carrying water. And when you see them, say to them, 'Where is the upper room prepared that I can have this Passover with my disciples?' And they will show it you. It's all been prepared ready." See, and as we go through life as well, things are prepared for us. Things which God knows are coming. He really prepares for what we have to go through and what we have to experience. But Jesus comes to this Seder meal before the actual day on the Feast of Passover, the very first meal of the Feast of Passover. And he gathers in this upper room with his disciples. Now, right at the very beginning, we see something very strange here. Because all these disciples that come into the room and they'd all decided to sit down. But, who was the most important of the disciples? That was the big question they had in their minds. Who was the most important? One of the things when you came together for a meal like this, you were supposed to wash. And the servant of the household, the most meanliest of tasks, that would be the person who, as you came in, would pour water over your hands, water over your feet, if you needed, water on your head. In other words, they would refresh you by pouring the water. And nobody wanted to do that particular job, because to do that job, you were saying quite simply, "I am the least of them. I am the least person. Not only am I not the most important, I am the least of all those present." And remember, there was probably the 12 there, but probably there was a larger group there as well. I mean, Mary was in Jerusalem at this time, so she would have been there for the Passover. Others, her people who were following Jesus, they would have been there for the Passover. Now Jesus goes and takes himself. He takes off his outer robe. He puts on a towel around his waist, and he picks up the water jar, and he goes around, and he starts to wash the disciples' feet. He is, in fact, doing the meanest of the tasks. He is saying to them, this is how you should act and relate one to another. When he comes to Peter, well, Peter as always wants to express himself. And he says, no, this is wrong. This isn't right. You shouldn't wash my feet. No, I want to let you wash my feet. And Jesus says, "Peter, you've been out in the world. You've got yourself dirty walking along the streets of Jerusalem. This is normal dirt you pick up from day to day. You need to wash. You need to have your feet washed." And you say, "You mustn't wash my feet." It's the wrong way around. You shouldn't be doing it. And then Jesus says something very special to him. He says, "If I don't wash you, you can't have any part of me. I've got to wash you." Remember this. We come back over and over again to celebrate the Eucharist together. And as we come to the beginning of the Eucharist, one of the first things that happen is that we very simply make our confession. And the leader of the meeting, whether it be a priest or minister, will pronounce the absolution that God has forgiven us. See, we need to wash. We need to wash continually because we're out there in the world. And out there in the world, we're going to get dirty. And Jesus says to Peter, I need to wash your feet. And he says, no, I'm not going to wash me. And Jesus says, if I don't wash you, and he says the same thing to you and me, if I don't wash you, you can't have any part of me. To accept my forgiveness and accept my washing, we must do it if we want to be one with him, because the muck grows in our lives. We need to get it washed away. So Peter now, realizing that Jesus is saying this, says, well, in that case, he says, if that case, don't just wash my feet, wash me all over. And Jesus must have smiled at that particular point. He said, oh, Peter, Peter, no, you don't realize that when you've bathed, you are clean all over. And, when we accept Jesus, we are given eternal life. We are blessed in this way. But going through life, we just get a little bit dirty. We need to wash that off that dirt. He said, when you're washed all over, you don't need to bathe again. Don't have to wash the whole body. It's just where you're coming into contact with the world. You need to wash that and keep that clean as well. And then he goes back and he sits down. He says, now, you see what I've done for you? I am your Lord and Master. Now, if I've done this to you, you must do it to each other. You too must bless each other and forgive each other and literally wash each other in order that you can be part of this body and part of my church.